Okay,
Yeah.
and we have our first part here. If you guys can see, these are called MaXpeedingrods.
Woo! Woo!
Definitely made in China. It says it has ARP rod bolts in this sucker, and it looks like an Eagle knockoff, but it is made in China, and this is one of the first parts that we're gonna do to rebuild this motor. So the test is we're gonna fully rebuild this motor with all Chinese-made parts. We're gonna dyno tune it, we're gonna turn it up, we're gonna see what it can withstand. So if some of these parts are junk, we're gonna find out ASAP.
Yeah, we're gonna find out the hard way.
Okay, so we're gonna do a complete build of this, all Chinese-made parts. And you don't even know, some of the U.S. companies, some of the parts are made in China, so we can use those. And the only exception is some parts are not made in China. I've been trying like
Pistons.
I'm trying like my hardest to try to find pistons
yeah.
that are made in China, and
Almost impossible.
well, I'm like searching companies to see if they're like made in China, overseas, or something like that.
Yeah, we'll
But
try to figure it out.
we're gonna try to figure out. So we're gonna boost this Chinese turbo, Chinese internals, everything we can.
Chinese everything.
And we're gonna turn it up, and we're gonna send it, and we're gonna see what this can handle. So stay tuned for that. We're gonna go ahead and knock into this. All right, guys. So, all right, guys, we are now doing a tabletop review of these MaXpeedingrods. So we know that these rods, they are actually modeled after Eagle rods. So we actually have an old school Eagle rod here, but I think this one's for B16. Is it for B16?
Yeah, B16.
B16.
It's shorter, a little bit, I think.
Yeah, it's shorter. So we can kind of do some comparisons and kind of see what the difference is between the original and the MaXpeedingrod version. We're checking out the MaXpeedingrod, if you can see right here. Looks like it's laser etched emblem onto the MaXpeedingrods. I don't know if these might be the weight of the rod.
Individually?
They're laser etched in. I don't know what these numbers represent. They might be the grams or milligrams or something. I don't know, but I don't think they're grams because this has a setting. So I actually have a have a scale here to measure. We kind of see the differences of the rod. One is longer than the other one. Longer stroke of the GSR versus the B16. Let's see, let me zero this out on grams wise. So let's check out the weight real quick. So this is the original Eagle rod. It's 526 grams. This actually weighs a little more, I think. Just comparison. So it weighs less than the B16 rods, even though it's longer.
Maybe the material that it's made of?
Could be the material. Well, actually, I believe it's actually the thickness.
Oh, I see.
The thickness of this rod is a little thicker. Measure the thickness of this is the MaXpeedingrods. If you look here, 14 millimeters thick. Okay, and then we're gonna look at the original Eagle one, which is close to 15.3. So it's probably going to be an advantage on the original Eagle rod to have the thickness of it's thicker. So
And it's heavier.
and it's heavier. So maybe the material is different. I think it's because of the material in the center. If you kind of can look. There's a lot taken out in the center, like it's deeper in the MaXpeedingrod, and
Not so much on the...
yeah, in the original Eagle, it might be, and that design of that, like that line in the center, it might help with strength. I'm not 100% sure. One thing I did notice though is both of them, they do use ARP rod bolts, but the MaXpeedingrod actually uses a thicker rod bolt. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn it around. You can see the thickness. You zoom in, the thickness of the rod bolts. You see the difference?
Yeah.
So the rod bolts for the MaXpeedingrods are thicker. That's gonna be stronger.
Are they both ARP 2000s?
Yes, they are both Yeah.
Different style of the ARP 2000s. You can see the heads on one of them are a little bigger.
Yeah, it's because of the rod bolt's bigger, I think. And then this one says Eagle on top. You can see that.
Okay.
You see it?
Yeah.
It's Eagle ARP 2000. It is ARP 2000s as well. So one thing that's cool that I noticed also with the max speeding rod is that you see where there's a break. There's like okay, so if you compare it with the Eagle rod, you can see where the rod breaks. There's like a little lip here I can catch with my fingernail.
Indentation.
Yeah, like where the two halves meet. There's a little, like, you could feel it. This one, it's like completely smooth.
You can't even tell it's there.
You can't even tell, like barely. There's like a barely a line. With this one, you can tell. Not so much on this side. They did a pretty good job, but this one, like you could feel it with your fingernail. It catches. So both of them have, both of them have like. This one is, I think, more. This is lasered. This is like etched in. Might be the weight of the rod. I'm not 100% sure.
Someone in the comments will know.
The designs are actually different. So this is something that they didn't copy. The design of, there's two oil ports. You see the two oil ports? So there's one on this side and then one on this side. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's two ports so that there's going to get some oiling. Oiling on the wrist pin. So with this one, they have one hole. Okay. But I don't know, maybe because the Eagle one is worn, but if you look inside the center where there's like brass, there's a little indentation in the middle that goes around so that it gives like it can lubricate in the center, like it's not touching, like in the center of the wrist pin, it would be like a kind of like a pool of oil. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Has anybody seen failure with these? And if so, was it like a spun bearing or was it the actual rod bent? Because that's the only thing is like, did the rod bend? I've seen stock rods bend close to around 400 horsepower, but with these, what is the first thing that you see that usually goes? So if it's somewhere in like the bearing issue or something like that, then I think this is an upgrade because the rod bolts are thicker. We're gonna go ahead and take apart the GSR now and kind of prep and get ready to. Well, we're gonna need pistons for this thing, but we're gonna go ahead and open it and inspect the GSR block right now to check out what we need to order in order to slap these babies on and yeah, fully build that motor for you guys. So let's go ahead.